Okay, number 12 says write the equation of the following graph. We're going to identify that it is a cosine graph. And we know cosine's default function starts at 1, and this would be an entire period for cosine. So here's 1, and there's an entire period. Okay? So the default of this, we already know, is 2 pi. So 2 pi over b will be the new period that we're going to look at here in just a bit. Well, let's go ahead and progress to this the way we do with other problems on this test review. We're going to do D first, and then A, then we'll look for B, and then we'll look for C. Okay? Remember, the period is going to come from the graph as well. So I may or may not have written that in other example problems. We're going to look over it here right now. Okay, so let's look at D. Remember, D is that horizontal shift that cuts straight in the middle of the wave, if you will, where you have equal wave on the bottom and equal wave on the top. And it looks like for cosine, the D value as far as that middle of the wave used to be at y is equal to 0, otherwise the x-axis, and it looks like it has shifted up a whole 1 unit. So D is going to be a positive 1 because it went upward 1 unit. Next, we're going to look at the amplitude. Remember, that's the distance from that equilibrium value, if you will, that D value, to either a minimum or a maximum. And you're just going to interpret it as a positive number. So it's from here to here, it looks like it's 2 units. From here to here, it looks like it's 2 units. So A is going to be 2. All right, so now let's look at B and C. In my opinion, I think C is easier first to interpret because this is going to show you, was there a horizontal shift to the left or to the right? Again, we have to refer to our original default of what does cosine of x look like as a default function. Now you see it also is starting at a max and going down, so it wasn't shifted per se. Like this graph isn't shifted over here or so on and so forth. It started at the same x value of 0. So C is going to be 0 because it did not shift left nor right. Alright, so B. We're going to find B from our default equation of 2 pi over b is equal to the period that we see on the graph. Okay, so let me highlight the period that we see on the graph in green, which is from 0 all the way to 2 pi. So that's what you're going to put in for P. That's the visual, actual period that you see from the graph. Now if you solve for B, you're going to multiply both sides by B. Then you divide by that coefficient of 2 pi. So yep, you guessed it, B is 1. Again, the period that we see on the graph was 2 pi. And last but not least, you're just going to write it out. F of x is equal to, leave a space for A, cosine, leave a space for B, and then leave a space for C. Now it's plugging in time. So A is 2, B is 1, C is 0, and D is a positive 1. So when I simplify this out, we would get f of x is equal to 2 cosine of x, and it'll be plus 1. And you can write it like that, or you could put the parentheses there if you choose to with the cosine. I'm going to go ahead and use the parentheses.